Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show that takes a stack of sources, cuts through all the noise, and hopefully delivers the distilled, unvarnished truth straight to you.
And today, we're tackling a big one, a global icon, really.
Right.
A city that exists as much in our heads, in our collective imagination as it does on the map.
Yeah.
New York City, the Big Apple.
Mm-hmm.
But look, our mission here isn't about putting together some glossy travel guide. It's about answering that really core question our listeners always have about major destinations. Is it actually worth the money, the time, and, let's be honest, the inevitable stress and planning it takes to experience it?
That's exactly it. We've really dug into sources that deliberately skip the usual tourist brochure fluff. We've gathered info on everything from the real cost of flights and hotels to what it's actually like on the ground, the feel, the smells.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah.
That undeniable buzz you get the moment you step out of a subway station into that, chaos.
Right. So we've kind of broken it down into the practical stuff, how you get there, where you crash, and maybe most importantly for your wallet, what the food situation looks like.
And then there's the other side, the intangible experience.
Yeah.
We really want to help you figure out if New York is going to live up to that, vibrant, inspiring idea of the metropolis we all have.
Or if it risks becoming, for your particular travel style anyway, just an overpriced, overcrowded headache.
Yeah, a potential disappointment.
Because just saying New York, it immediately brings up these powerful images, doesn't it? Yellow cabs streaming down
There's
avenues,
skyscrapers everywhere.
that feeling of ambition in the air. But we're going to put that whole iconic idea under the microscope, weigh it against the cold, hard facts of a traveler's budget, and, frankly, their sanity.
We do have a verdict coming at the end. A definitive one, but maybe a conditional one.
Yeah,
So-
definitely conditional. But first things first, let's tackle that initial hurdle, just getting there.
Okay, let's unpack those first logistical steps, starting with actually flying in.
Okay, so New York, it's obviously one of the world's biggest travel hubs. That means tons of flight options, which is usually good for keeping prices, somewhat competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're flying in, you've basically got three main airports to choose from: JFK, LaGuardia, that's LGA, and Newark Liberty International, or EWR.
And we got to stress right away, EWR, Newark, it's actually in New Jersey, across the river. Important detail.
Right.
But having those three massive international airports does help spread the load and keeps costs, somewhat manageable. But what you actually pay really, really depends on where you're starting from. Our sources give us some pretty reliable ballpark figures for different regions.
Absolutely. Like if you're flying from major cities within North America, and this is key, you book outside those peak holiday times, maybe late January or like shoulder season.
Yeah.
You can often snag round trip tickets for maybe $150 to $300, which honestly feels pretty reasonable for getting to NYC.
That's definitely doable. But the math changes quite a bit once you start crossing oceans. For listeners planning a trip from Europe, you've really got to expect that price range to sit more firmly around $500 to $800 for a standard economy ticket.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. And for folks coming from the much longer distances, say from Asia, that flight becomes the first major budget item. We're talking $800 minimum, often pushing up towards $1,500, maybe even higher depending on how flexible you can be with dates and airlines.
Wow.
So the advice we saw consistently across all sources was pretty simple. You got to treat those flight comparison sites like your best friend. Set alerts. Be ready to jump when a decent price pops up, especially for those long-haul flights. Flexibility is key.
Okay, so let's say you've landed. You're at JFK, maybe, since it handles most international flights. Now you hit your first big decision, impacting both your wallet and your stress levels: public transport,
Yeah.
or that iconic yellow cab.
Right. And if saving money is your absolute top priority, public transit is the clear, undisputed winner. No question.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of figuring out, sure, but the savings are huge.
How huge are we talking?
Well, from JFK, the standard route is the air train.
Hmm.
That costs $8.25. It connects you right to the subway system.
Okay.
And a subway ride is currently $2.90. So you're looking at, around $11, maybe $12 total. And boom, you're in Manhattan.
Okay, 11 or 12 bucks. Now, compare that to flagging down one of those famous yellow cabs or, using Uber or Lyft. We need to be really specific about the costs here because this catches people out.
It really does.
Yeah.
From JFK to Manhattan, cabs have a flat fare. It's $52. Sounds okay.
Yeah, sounds manageable, but
That's just the base. You have to add bridge or tunnel tolls, which vary,
yeah.
and then the tip, which isn't optional, really. You're expected to tip 18–20%.
So that $52.
It climbs fast.
Yeah.
Realistically, you're not getting out of that cab for less than $70 probably closer to $80 minimum.
Wow, okay, that's a big difference from $12.
Huge.
Yeah.
That kind of expense really only makes sense if you're maybe a group of 3 or 4 people splitting it, or if you've got absolutely mountains of luggage and dealing with subway stairs just isn't feasible.
Right.
For pretty much everyone else, that's $60 or so you save. That's like half a Broadway ticket right there, or a couple of really nice meals.
Good perspective. What about landing at Newark or LaGuardia?
Newark, EWR, is also pretty efficient using the train. You take their air train, connect to NJ Transit trains, and they drop you right at Penn Station in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay.
The total cost is a bit higher, maybe $15 to $17, but honestly, it's often a faster and maybe slightly more comfortable ride than the subway connection from JFK.
And LaGuardia, LGA used to be the tricky one for cheap transfers, right?
It was a nightmare, yeah. But there's big news there, something our sources called a game changer. They recently launched a new express bus connection that takes you directly to the subway.
Ah, that is a game changer.
Totally. It means the whole trip into the city now just costs a regular subway fare, $2.90. That makes LGA suddenly one of the cheapest airports to arrive at, assuming you don't mind that bus leg.
Okay, that's super helpful on arrival. So once you're actually in the city, how do you get around?
Right. Your new best friend becomes the MTA subway system. It is, hands down, the champion for speed, efficiency, and just managing your costs day to day.
And it actually runs 24/7.
It really does, which is kind of amazing. It covers not just Manhattan, but big, important chunks of Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, too.
It's fast, yeah. But let's be real, it can also be intense. Sensory overload sometimes. We'll get to the crowds later, but just functionally, it's the way to go.
It is. A single ride costs $2.90.
Right.
But here's where you need to do a quick bit of math, especially if you're staying for, say, a week.
Yeah.
If you're in New York for 4 days or more, and you plan on using the subway even just moderately, like maybe 3 round trips a day,
Yeah, that sounds about right for sightseeing.
you'll very quickly spend more than the $34 cost of the 7-day unlimited pass. Okay, that pass just gives you total freedom. Jump on and off trains, even buses, without thinking about every single tap. It really cuts down on travel stays.
And the payment tech is getting better too, right? It's not just the old MetroCard anymore.
Thank goodness, yes. The MetroCard is still around, but the future is OMNY. It's their tap and pay system. And this is genuinely revolutionary, especially for international visitors.
How so?
With OMNY, you just tap your contactless credit card or your phone with Apple Pay or Google Pay right on the turnstile reader. That's it.
Okay, so no need to queue up to buy a card or figure out how much money to put on it.
Exactly. Massive time saver. But here's the really clever part. The financial genius for tourists. The system automatically fare caps your spending.
Fare caps? What does that mean?
It means once you've spent $34 within a standard 7-day period using the same card or device, all your subsequent rides for the rest of that week are completely free. It basically turns into an automatic weekly pass without you having to do anything.
Wow, okay, that's brilliant. That makes using the subway so much easier and less intimidating.
It really does. It makes transit almost seamless.
But, you know, looking at that subway map, all those lines, the numbers, the letters, the 1 train, the F train, the R, it can still feel pretty overwhelming.
Oh, it is overwhelming at first glance, and our sources were unanimous. You absolutely need to pre-plan your routes. Don't just wing it underground.
So use apps.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Apps like Citymapper or even just Google Maps are essential. They give you real-time updates, tell you exactly which train to get on, which direction. They really help you avoid getting lost, or worse, jumping on an express train that blows right past your stop.
Been there, done that. Not fun. Okay, so subway's king. What about other options? Buses, walking.
Yeah, don't sleep on the buses. They're often overlooked, but they're fantastic for going cross-town, like east to west in Manhattan, where the subway lines mostly run north-south. Plus, you get to see the city streets.
Right, you're above ground.
Exactly. And then, of course, the number one free activity in New York, just walking. The city is incredibly walkable, especially within neighborhoods. Places like Greenwich Village, Soho, the Lower East Side. Walking is the best way to soak in the atmosphere, find hidden spots, and just feel the city's pulse. It's not just about getting from A to B, it's part of the experience.
Okay, so we can get around efficiently, even cheaply, if we embrace the MTA and OMNY. But you mentioned earlier, the savings kind of start when we talk about where we actually sleep.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. We're now entering what's probably the toughest category for anyone trying to visit NYC without, taking out a second mortgage.
Right, let's talk accommodation. And we need to be really upfront here. New York hotels, well, lodging in general, is relentlessly expensive.
It really is.
This isn't a city where you can just show up and hope to find a cheap room. You absolutely cannot wing it. You have to budget significantly for this because you're paying a massive premium for every single square foot of space.
That premium is, well, it's the price of being in the thick of it, right?
Yeah.
Let's break down the reality across different budget levels. And keep in mind, these prices swing wildly depending on the season. Winter is usually your cheapest bet.
Okay, so for the real budget traveler, what are the options?
Primarily hostels, but even those aren't dirt cheap. You might find a dorm bed starting around $80 a night.
$80 for a dorm bed. Wow.
Yeah, and it can easily climb up to $150 during peak summer or around the holidays. If you're looking for a private budget room, you're probably starting around $150 to $200 maybe.
And what do you get for that?
Tiny.
Yeah.
Expect it to be incredibly small. That's a really consistent comment in the sources. You're paying for location, not space.
Okay, so what about mid-range? That's where most people probably aim, right? A decent 3- or 4-star place.
Right, and this is where the budget really takes a hit. The price range here is huge, maybe $200 all the way up to $400 a night.
$400 a night for mid-range.
Yeah. Realistically, if you want a reasonably comfortable room, something clean, in a location that's, convenient and feels safe, you probably need to budget $250 to $350 per night, minimum.
That's a lot higher than most other major U.S. cities for a similar standard, isn't it?
Oh, significantly. And we should also quickly mention the whole Airbnb situation.
Right, the regulations have changed there, haven't they?
They have. New York City has really tightened the rules on short-term rentals, especially in big apartment buildings. It's making it much harder and, frankly, legally riskier to find those kinds of options.
So that pushes people back towards traditional hotels.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It reduces the overall supply of short-term lets and helps keep those hotel prices high. The market forces you toward licensed lodging, and you pay the price.
Okay. And then, at the very top end, the luxury places, Four Seasons, the Plaza.
Yeah, the sky's the limit there. You're starting firmly at $500 a night and easily going up into four figures. But at that level, you're not just paying for a room. You're paying for impeccable service, amazing amenities, and usually an absolutely prime location.
Location, location, location. But choosing the right location, the right neighborhood, seems almost as crucial as the price, doesn't it? It really shapes your whole experience.
Totally. It dictates the vibe, the pace, everything. Our sources highlighted sort of three main areas that cater to different types of travelers.
Okay, let's hear them. First up.
The classic choice, especially for first-timers, Midtown. Think areas like Hell's Kitchen, the Theater District, near Times Square.
Right. Why is that good for first-timers?
Convenience, mostly. You're walking distance to so many major sites. Times Square, Broadway shows, Rockefeller Center, the bottom edge of Central Park. And the subway connections are fantastic. You can get anywhere easily.
Okay, sounds practical. What's the downside?
The vibe. It's intensely energetic, which can be good, but it's also packed with tourists, incredibly noisy, lots of traffic. You are absolutely in the thick of it. But that also means you're constantly navigating crowds. It can be exhausting.
Right. Tourist Central. Okay, what's recommendation number 2?
For a totally different feel, head downtown to Greenwich Village or the West Village.
Ah, I love that area.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? It feels much more like a village, almost European sometimes. Cobblestone streets, historic brownstones, little independent shops, jazz clubs.
Sounds charming. Who's that best for?
It's great if you're looking for something a bit more romantic, maybe quieter, or you just prefer exploring unique neighborhoods away from the huge crowds, more of a local feel.
But I bet it's expensive.
Oh, yeah. That charm comes at a premium. Accommodation here is often even pricier than Midtown, and rooms can be harder to find.
Okay. And the third option, you mentioned maybe looking outside Manhattan.
Exactly. For travelers looking for something a bit trendier, maybe slightly, and I'd stress slightly more affordable, and a different perspective, you should look across the East River to Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Ah, Williamsburg. It's blown up in recent years, hasn't it?
Totally. It's gone from being just a cheaper alternative to a major destination in its own right. The vibe is more, hip, industrial chic sometimes, lots of street art, great bars, amazing food scene.
And the accommodation, still cheaper.
Marginally, sometimes, you might find slightly better value than prime Manhattan spots. But the big payoff is the view. You get those incredible sweeping skyline views back towards Manhattan.
Oh, right, the iconic postcard shot.
Exactly. Plus, it's really well connected to Manhattan by subway, so getting back and forth is easy. It's great for maybe a younger crowd or someone who's visited before and wants a different base.
Okay, so the takeaway is figure out your budget. Brace yourself for that, say $250, $350 nightly hit for mid-range, and then really think about the vibe you want. Midtown for convenience and chaos, the Village for charm and cost, or Williamsburg for trendiness and views.
Precisely. Choosing the wrong neighborhood can really impact your trip, even if the hotel itself is fine.
Makes sense. Okay, so assuming we found somewhere to sleep, we haven't gone completely broke, we need to eat. And
Yeah.
you said this is where New York starts to get really exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Forget just expensive. This is where the city becomes genuinely exhilarating.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could argue New York City is the world's ultimate food city, seriously.
Yeah.
It's not just famous for, like, one thing. It's this incredible sprawling mosaic where every flavor from around the globe seems to land, get absorbed, and then turn into something uniquely New York.
Okay, that's a big claim.
But the sources really back it up. Eating here isn't just refueling. It's a major attraction in itself.
All right, so if it's an attraction, there must be a kind of greatest hits list, right?
Yeah.
The essential must-try local dishes, the culinary checklist.
Definitely. Let's run through them. First, the absolute icon, New York-style pizza.
Ah, yes, the slice.
Exactly. Thin crust, got to be large, triangular, and crucial detailed, foldable. You're supposed to fold it in half lengthwise.
Right, and you eat it standing up, preferably.
Pretty much. Maybe dripping a little grease on the sidewalk. It's an institution. Perfect, fast, delicious city food.
Okay, what's next? Breakfast.
Non-negotiable. An everything bagel with schmear. That's cream cheese for anyone unfamiliar.
And they say the water makes the bagel special?
That's the legend. Whether it's true or not, there's something about that chewy texture. It's just the perfect New York breakfast. Get it toasted.
Okay, got it. What else is on the street food front?
The ultimate street experience? The street cart hot dog.
Ah, the dirty water dog, as they sometimes call it.
Exactly. It's fast, it's cheap, often costs less than a bottle of water, and you load it up with mustard and maybe sauerkraut or onions from those metal bins. It's noisy, quick, maybe a bit grimy, but it's a totally quintessential New York moment. You have to do it once.
Okay, I'm in. Moving slightly more upscale, maybe.
For a real taste of history, you need the pastrami on rye. And the sources almost universally point to one place as the legend.
Let me guess. Katz's Delicatessen.
You got it. Cats, where they hand-carve these huge, steaming piles of juicy pastrami right in front of you, piled ridiculously high on thick rye bread, maybe with a smear of mustard. It's the classic Jewish deli flavor. It's an experience.
And it looks huge in photos.
It is. You might need help finishing it. Okay, dessert.
Has to be cheesecake, right?
New York cheesecake.
Yeah.
And forget the light, fluffy stuff you get elsewhere. The real NYC version is dense, rich, incredibly creamy, usually served plain, or maybe with just a little bit of strawberry sauce. Pure indulgence.
My teeth hurt just thinking about it. Okay, anything to wash it all down.
Well, you should definitely have a classic Manhattan cocktail. Whiskey, sweet vermouth, bitters, and try to have it in a proper, maybe slightly swanky, old-school bar. It just captures that timeless New York glamour.
Nice. Okay, that's a delicious checklist. But running through it,
Yeah.
pastrami at Katz's, cocktails, the budget question comes roaring back. We know accommodation is killer. Can you actually eat well in New York without going totally bankrupt?
Yes, absolutely. And that is the city's saving grace when it comes to food costs.
Yeah.
The sheer range of options is incredible, which gives you flexibility.
Okay, how flexible?
Well, street food, like we mentioned, that slice of pizza, the hot dog, you're talking maybe $3 to $8 an item. You could definitely put together a cheap and satisfying lunch just from carts and slice joints.
Right. Manageable. What about sitting down someone casual? A diner, maybe?
Yeah, for casual dining, a solid diner breakfast or relaxed lunch spot, maybe a neighborhood bistro.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at $15 to $30 per person per meal. Still pretty reasonable for a major city.
Okay, but then things start to climb. Mid-range dinners.
That's where you need to pay attention, yeah. Mid-range dinners, where you might have a reservation, maybe a slightly nicer place, maybe a glass of wine, that's going to push you into the $40 to $80 per person range, and that's before drinks and the tip.
Right, the tip. We need to talk about the tip.
We absolutely do. This is crucial, especially for international visitors who might not be used to it. Tipping isn't optional for table service in the U.S.
And the standard rate in NYC is?
You need to budget for 18% to 20% minimum. For decent service, 20% is pretty standard now.
So that $50 dinner is actually $60.
Exactly. You have to factor that in mentally when you look at menu prices. If you don't account for tax and tip, your food budget can just completely explode over a week. treat it as part of the listed price.
That's a really critical piece of financial advice. Okay, so to avoid just eating in expensive tourist traps
Yes.
near, like, Times Square, how do you find the good stuff, the authentic
You
gems?
have to explore. Get out of the main tourist hubs. The real food map of New York is defined by its neighborhood diversity.
Where should people head?
Well, our sources strongly suggest getting away from Midtown for dinner. The Lower East Side still has tons of trendy, cool restaurants and bars. For maybe the best, most authentic Asian food in the entire country, seriously, you should make the trip out to Flushing in Queens.
Flushing, Queens. Okay.
Yeah, it's like stepping into another world. Incredible Chinese, Korean, all sorts of amazing food, way cheaper than Manhattan.
Interesting. Anywhere else?
For a taste of real, old-school Italian-American culture, not the touristy stuff in Manhattan's, Little Italy, head up to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx.
Arthur Avenue, okay.
It's considered the real Little Italy by many New Yorkers. Amazing bakeries, pasta shops, butchers, family-run trattorias. It's fantastic.
So the general rule is get off the main drags, look for side streets.
Exactly. Look for places where the menu isn't a novel, maybe the chairs are a bit mismatched, and you hear locals speaking their language. That's usually a good sign.
What about food halls? They seem popular now.
Yeah, they're a great option, too. Places like Chelsea Market or Urban Space Vanderbilt near Grand Central, they bring together lots of different high-quality food vendors under one roof. Perfect for trying a bunch of things without committing to a full sit-down meal, and often more affordable.
Okay, lots of delicious options. Seems like food is definitely a highlight if you budget for it and explore a bit.
It's a massive highlight. Worth the trip almost just for the eating.
All right. We've handled getting there, sleeping, eating. Now for the main event, really. The experiences. What should you absolutely do, and maybe what should you skip?
Okay, this is where we get to the heart of it. We've covered the logistics, the money. Now let's talk about the why. Why are you even going? The experiences. And this really feeds into that is it worth it question. Let's start positive. The things our sources say you absolutely cannot miss, the definitely worth it list.
Right, these are the iconic things, yes, but they also tend to offer a really high return on your investment, whether that's time, money, or just cultural enrichment.
Okay, number one. Has to be Central Park. It's so much more than just a park. It's this huge, masterfully designed green space right in the middle of Manhattan. It's essential. It's free. It's your escape hatch from the city buzz.
How much time should you give it?
Honestly, at least half a day. You could spend days there, but half a day minimum. Wander around Bethesda Terrace and Houghton, find strawberry fields, the John Lennon Memorial, maybe rent a boat at the lake near the boathouse, or if walking the whole thing feels like too much, renting a bike is a great way to cover more ground.
Or just sit on a bench.
Absolutely.
Huh.
People watching in Central Park is practically a sport in itself. You see every slice of New York life unfolding right there. It's fantastic and free.
Okay, Central Park, check. Number 2.
The museums, specifically the big two, the Met and MoMA, the sheer scale and quality of art and artifacts in these places, it's just world-class. Unparalleled, really.
The Met being the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Right. Which covers basically 5,000 years of global history and art. It's encyclopedic. And MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, has probably the best collection of modern and contemporary art anywhere. You're standing face-to-face with masterpieces you've only ever seen in books.
Okay, sounds amazing. What's the cost? And any tips for tackling them? They seem huge.
A cost is pretty reasonable for what you get. The Met has a suggested admission. It's around $30, but New York residents can pay what they wish. MoMA is usually $25, $30.
Okay.
The critical tip, though, based on tons of feedback, buy your tickets online beforehand. Do not waste an hour standing in the ticket line, especially at the Met.
Good tip.
And the other big one, don't try to see everything in one visit. You'll just get overwhelmed and exhausted. Museum burnout is real. Pick 2 or 3 wings or specific collections that genuinely interest you and focus on those. Quality over quantity.
Makes sense. Okay, park, museums. What's number 3 on the must-do list?
Seeing a Broadway show. It's the quintessential New York night out, isn't it? World-class theater, huge productions. You just can't replicate that experience anywhere else.
But the tickets, they can be insanely expensive, right?
It can be staggering, yeah.
Ah.
Easily $80 just for seats way in the back or with a partial view, climbing up to $250, $300, even more for the best seats for hit shows.
So how do regular people afford it? Is there a trick?
There are tricks. Research pays off here. If you're flexible about what you see and when, you absolutely have to check out the TKTS booth in Times Square.
TKTTS.
Yeah, they sell same-day discounted tickets for a lot of Broadway and off-Broadway shows. You can often get tickets for up to 50% off the face value if the show hasn't sold out. You have to queue, but the savings can be huge.
Okay, half price sounds good. Any other options?
Yes, digital lotteries.
Yeah.
Almost every big show now runs an online lottery for a limited number of super cheap tickets, sometimes just $30 or $40 each, often for really good seats.
Wow. How do you enter those?
Usually through the show's official website or specific lottery apps like TodayTix. Winning is obviously down to luck, but if you enter every day for the shows you're interested in, your chances aren't terrible. It's definitely worth trying.
Great advice. Okay, must do number 4.
You need to see the city from above, get that skyline view. And the top recommendation from our sources is overwhelmingly Knife Done. Top of the Rock, the observation deck at Rockefeller Center.
Top of the Rock. Interesting. Why that one specifically over the Empire State Building, which is maybe more famous?
It really comes down to the view you get. From Top of the Rock, you get that absolutely perfect, iconic shot with the Empire State Building in your photo. That's the money shot, right?
Ah, good point. If you're on the Empire State Building, you can't see the Empire State Building.
Exactly. Plus, Top of the Rock has multiple levels, including outdoor decks with glass panels instead of bars, which generally makes for better photos and maybe a slightly less crowded, more pleasant experience overall.
Makes sense. What's the cost and any tips for that?
Tickets are around $40 to $50. And the biggest tip, if you want to be up there for sunset, which is spectacular, seeing the lights come on,
Yeah, definitely.
you have to book those sunset time slots well in advance, weeks, maybe even months ahead, especially during peak season. They sell out super fast.
Okay, book sunset at Top of the Rock way ahead. Got it. That's a solid worth it list. Now let's flip it. What about the things that maybe aren't worth the time or money? The potential tourist traps.
Yes, the maybe not worth it list.
Yeah.
This can save you a lot of frustration and maybe some cash too.
Top of the list. I have a feeling I know what's coming.
Spending too much time in Times Square.
Knew it. It's undeniably bright.
It's a spectacle for sure. You have to see it once. The massive flashing billboards, that sheer energy, it's unlike anywhere else.
Yeah.
But the reality, according to almost every source, is that it's just overwhelmingly crowded. Like shoulder to shoulder, can't move crowded. It's incredibly loud, often kind of smells funky in summer, and it's ground zero for those aggressive costume characters, the Elmos, the Statues of Liberty, the superheroes.
Oh, yeah, the ones who want money for photos.
Exactly. They can be really pushy if you even make eye contact. Plus, all the food and shopping right in the square is generally overpriced and pretty generic tourist stuff.
So the advice is?
Walk through it once. Maybe go late at night when the crowds are a bit thinner, but the lights are still blazing. Take your picture. And then get out. Go explore a real neighborhood with some actual character. Don't linger there for hours.
Okay, sound advice. What's next on the maybe skip it list?
Hop off bus tours. They look convenient on the brochures, right?
Yeah.
See all the sights easily.
Yeah, they seem like a good idea, especially if you have limited time.
In theory. But in reality, New York traffic, especially in Midtown and Lower Manhattan, where most tourists want to be, is famously gridlocked.
Ah, so you just sit there.
Pretty much. You end up spending way more time stuck in traffic, breathing exhaust fumes, than actually sightseeing. And they're quite expensive for what amounts to a very slow bus ride.
So what's the alternative if you want to see things from above ground?
Use the regular MTA buses. If you want views on a budget, hop on a local bus route like the M42 that goes crosstown, or the M5 that goes up and down Fifth Avenue.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, these are just regular city buses used by commuters, so they only cost the standard $2.90 fare with your OMNY tap or MetroCard. Much cheaper, often faster because they have dedicated lanes sometimes, and you still get to see the city streets.
Great hack. Okay, one more. Maybe not worth it.
This one might be controversial. Paying for Crown access to the Statue of Liberty if your main goal is just getting great views.
Okay, explain that. Seeing the Statue of Liberty is a must, isn't it?
Seeing it, yes. Going inside the Crown, maybe not. First, you have to book those Crown tickets months in advance. They sell out incredibly fast. Then you go through intense airport-style security. Then there's a long climb up a very narrow, tight spiral staircase.
Not great for claustrophobes, I imagine.
Definitely not. And once you're finally up there, the actual views out of the Crown are through tiny little windows. They're fine, but not spectacular.
So if you just want great photos of the statue and the skyline,
the far superior, easier, and best part, completely free alternative is to take the Staten Island Ferry.
Ah, the ferry. I've heard about this.
It's brilliant. It's a commuter ferry. Its job is to transport Staten Islanders back and forth to Manhattan, so it's free for everyone.
And it goes right past the statue.
It goes right past Lady Liberty, giving you fantastic, unobstructed water-level views, perfect for photos. Plus, you get amazing panoramic views of the entire lower Manhattan skyline as you pull away and come back.
Yep.
No tickets, no security lines beyond basic boarding, no cost. Just hop on, enjoy the ride and the views, hop off, and hop back on the next ferry to Manhattan.
That sounds like the ultimate New York travel hack right there. Use the commuter ferry for million-dollar views.
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder, or more expensively.
Okay, this is incredibly helpful. We've got the must-dos and the maybe-skips. But beyond the specific sites, there's that whole vibe thing we talked about earlier, the energy. What's that actually like day to day?
Right.
We've got the facts, the figures, the sites. But to really answer that, is it worth it question, we have to talk about the feel of the city. What's New York actually like when you're just, walking around on a random Tuesday afternoon? What is that intangible energy everyone talks about?
It's hard to pin down exactly, but New York definitely vibrates with this energy that feels unique. It's a sense of constant motion, sometimes almost relentless motion. It's a city built on ambition. You feel that everywhere. Incredible wealth right next to, well, struggling folks. Millions of different stories just unfolding all around you on the sidewalk. It's got this definite hustle, a kind of gritty determination, but also moments of surprising intimacy mixed in with all the scale and glamour.
Okay, let's break that down.
Yeah.
What about the positive side of that famous New York grit? What are the upsides for a traveler?
Well, first and foremost, the diversity. It's not just a buzzword there. It's real. You walk a few blocks, and you hear completely different languages, see different cultures, smell different foods, cooking. It's incredibly enriching just to be immersed in that.
Yeah, a true melting pot.
Absolutely. Second, the sheer amount of culture and entertainment available is just staggering. Museums, galleries, music venues, theater, comedy clubs. It's all there, 24/7 it feels like. And the quality level is generally sky high. If you're bored in New York, you're probably not trying very hard.
Okay. What about the people? New Yorkers themselves, they get a bad rap sometimes, being seen as rude or unfriendly. Is that fair?
Our sources really challenge that stereotype. The consensus is that New Yorkers aren't necessarily unfriendly, they're just efficient.
Efficient. How so?
They don't really do idle chit-chat on the street. They're usually moving fast, got places to be.
Yeah.
If you approach someone politely, maybe ask for specific directions, or a genuine recommendation, where's a good slice around here, you'll often get a surprisingly helpful, detailed, and usually pretty quick response.
So directness is key.
Yeah, be direct, be clear, don't waste their time, and they're often incredibly helpful. There's also this underlying sense of resilience and actually a lot of civic pride. They love their city, warts and all.
I like that efficient, not unfriendly.
Okay.
Appreciate that nuance. But now we have to talk about the downsides, the less glamorous side of the vibe, because that's just as important for setting expectations.
Oh, absolutely. These are non-negotiable parts of the experience, too.
Yeah.
First, the sensory overload we touched on. It's real. The sheer volume of people, especially in tourist areas, the constant noise sirens, horns, construction, music, the bright lights. It can genuinely wear you down. Traveler fatigue is a definite risk.
And the cost? It's not just accommodation, is it?
No, the expense is relentless. Everything feels marked up. A bottle of water, a coffee, a quick snack. It all costs more than you think it should. You constantly feel like your wallet is leaking money.
And then there's the cleanliness factor. How did one source put it? Aromatic corners.
Huh. Yeah, let's not sugarcoat it. New York is not always the cleanest city, especially in summer.
Right. The smell of hot garbage.
It's a thing. You have to be prepared for that. The sheer density of people and businesses means managing trash is a huge visible challenge. You'll see piles of black bags on the sidewalks waiting for collection. Subway stations can be pretty grimy. It's just part of the urban reality.
And tied into that density, travelers also need to be prepared for the city's social realities, right? Like homelessness.
Yes, definitely. You will see people experiencing homelessness, particularly around transit hubs or parks. It's a visible aspect of life in many large American cities, but the density in New York can make it feel more concentrated, and it can be confronting or upsetting for visitors not used to it.
Okay, and the pace. You mentioned the hustle.
The pace is intense. Seriously. New Yorkers walk fast, they talk fast, they expect things to move quickly. If you're looking for a laid-back, slow-paced, relaxing vacation, New York is fundamentally the wrong place.
It'll chew you up and spit you out.
That's the classic phrase, and it feels pretty accurate. It demands energy. You need to be ready to keep up or at least navigate the flow without stopping abruptly in the middle of the sidewalk.
Good practical tip. And related to the straight vibe, a quick word about scams. Tourist traps beyond just overpriced attractions.
Yeah, it's worth a heads up. You need to be aware of common, usually low-level street hustles.
Mm-hmm.
Things like the aggressive costumed characters in Times Square demanding payment for photos,
Mm-hmm.
people trying to hand you a free CD or mixtape
Oh,
and then
yeah.
getting really pushy about you giving them a donation.
Ah, the mixtape scam.
Yeah, classic. Or people trying to sell you fake tour tickets or passes on the street. It happens,
So the advice is just be aware, keep walking.
pretty much. Maintain awareness of your surroundings,
Mhm.
be polite but firm. A quick, clear no thank you, and keep moving purposefully is usually the best approach. Don't stop, don't engage in long conversations with people who approach you aggressively trying to sell something.
Okay, so it sounds like a city of real contrasts. Amazing energy, incredible diversity, world-class culture, but also intense crowds, high costs, some grit, and a demanding pace.
That's exactly it. And despite all those challenges, the expense, the noise, the occasional funky smell, it's that unique, intoxicating pulse, that feeling of being right at the center of everything that keeps drawing people back. It's a city that kind of rewards you for pushing through the friction.
Right. It makes the payoff feel earned, maybe.
Something like that, yeah. Hashtag conclusion and final verdict.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We've gone through the nitty-gritty logistics, the often painful costs, the absolute must-do experiences, the potential pitfalls, and that unique New York vibe.
Yeah, to quickly recap, it's definitely expensive, no doubt about it. You absolutely need to get a handle on the public transport system. It can be incredibly crowded and overwhelming at times.
But on the flip side, the cultural offerings are just unparalleled. The food scene is arguably the best and most diverse in the world, and that subway system, once you figure it out, is remarkably efficient.
So it's time. The big question. We've synthesized the sources, weighed the pros and cons. Is New York City actually worth the significant investment of time, money, and energy it demands? What's the final verdict?
My take, pulling everything together from the deep dive, is a pretty clear yes. But, and this is a huge, but it comes with a massive asterisk. It's a conditional yes.
Okay, conditional on what? We need to be really specific about who it's worth it for and maybe who should think twice and spend their travel budget somewhere else.
Exactly. So who is New York City perfect for? First, the culture vulture. If your top priority is hitting world-class museums, seeing groundbreaking theater, catching live music every night, exploring art galleries, this is your absolute mecca. There's nowhere better.
Agreed. Who else?
Second, the foodie. If you travel to eat, New York is paradise. From $3 street cart finds to $300 tasting menus, and literally every global cuisine imaginable. It's a culinary adventure playground. You just need to be willing to explore beyond the obvious spots.
Mm-hmm. It's also ideal for people who genuinely thrive on energy and constant stimulation. If you love that feeling of being plugged into a high-voltage city where something is always happening, New York's relentless pace will energize rather than exhaust you.
And let's not forget, it's an absolute dream for the shopper, from high-end designers to quirky vintage stores.
Okay, so that's the ideal NYC traveler profile.
Yeah.
Now, who should maybe skip it? Or at least seriously reconsider?
All right. First, the strict budget traveler who's primarily seeking relaxation. If your main goals are saving money and chilling out, New York is basically designed to frustrate you on both counts. It's expensive, and it's definitely not relaxing.
Yeah, that's a bad combo for NYC. Who else?
Anyone who genuinely dislikes crowds and intense noise. If large masses of people and constant urban clamor stress you out, the sensory overload here, especially in popular areas, could be really debilitating and ruin your trip.
That's fair. What about nature lovers?
Well, if you're seeking peace, quiet, or a deep connection with nature, New York probably isn't the right fit. Central Park is amazing, a vital green lung, but it's still an urban park. It's not a remote mountain retreat or a quiet beach.
Good point. And one more we should probably reiterate.
Yes, the claustrophobia warning. Personal space is a real luxury in New York. If the thought of being tightly packed onto a subway car during rush hour or navigating shoulder-to-shoulder crowds on the sidewalk genuinely fills you with dread, you might find parts of the experience very uncomfortable.
Okay. So the final synthesis seems pretty clear, though.
Yeah, I think so. For the right kind of traveler, someone who's prepared for the costs, willing to learn the subway, maybe even embraces the chaos a little bit, and is hungry for culture and energy, New York is absolutely worth it. It can be exhilarating, unforgettable, maybe even transformative.
But for the wrong traveler, someone unprepared for the expense, overwhelmed by crowds, or seeking tranquility, it could easily end up being a really expensive, stressful disappointment.
Exactly. The key, as always with travel, is knowing yourself, knowing what you value in a trip, and doing the kind of research we've just walked through. Setting the right expectations is crucial.
That feels like the unvarnished truth we were aiming for.
Mm.
Laid bare for you, the
So
listener.
looking back at all the sources, the recurring themes are definitely that relentless energy, that ambition, but also that high cost and complexity, acting almost like a barrier to entry. We saw how crucial mastering the MTA is, how you have to actively navigate the crowds.
Which leads to maybe one final provocative thought for you to chew on. Does that high barrier, the sheer expense, the logistical hoops you have to jump through, the competitiveness, the chaos, does it actually function as a kind of necessary filter?
A filter? How do you mean?
Well, does it inadvertently help fuel the city's world-class culture? Does it mean only the most determined artists, the most innovative chefs, the most resilient people thrive there? And for the traveler, does enduring the cost and the chaos somehow make the rewards, those incredible museums, the energy of Broadway, that perfect slice of pizza, feel that much sweeter because you had to work for it?
Hmm. That's interesting. Like, the city inspires you partly because it challenges you just to be there to keep up.
Maybe. Something to mull over, anyway, as you plan your own adventures.
Definitely something to think about. And that, I think, wraps up this deep dive.
We really hope this detailed look gives you the clarity you need to decide if the Big Apple is the right bite for you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay informed.